the original 102 passengers, 101 arrived, 2 having died in the crossing, and 1 baby having been born. How many of these people will survive a winter in the wilderness is still a grave doubt.
All right, there was our video. We are going to shut this off right now. All right, what did we think of that? Was it interesting?
Yes, it was very educational.
Sure.
It was interesting.
Very good.
I've seen it
All
many
right.
times.
Okay, so what is Thanksgiving? Why do we celebrate it?
Well, so thankful for what we have.
Exactly, Jim. Thank you. This is the way we celebrate to show that we're thankful for all the blessings that we have. Very good. Thanksgiving is a holiday that we celebrate to give thanks for all the blessings. Pilgrims immigrated from England in the 1620s and 30s, and they carried that tradition of giving thanks, and it eventually became what we call today is Thanksgiving. Very good. All right, now can anyone recall who were the pilgrims? When we say that term, who were the pilgrims?
They were people from England.
They were people from England. Very good. They were a group of people from England. They were coming over to escape religious persecution. Very good.
What is religious persecution?
That's an excellent question, Matthew. Thank you for asking that. Religious persecution is when a group of people are not free to practice their faith how they see fit. In that time, the government of England was being very, they were not giving people a lot of freedom to worship how they wanted to. And these people felt very differently about a lot of different things, and so they wanted to go and practice their faith in a place where they could be free to do so. Very good. Okay, now can we identify some consequences of them coming over on the Mayflower?
Well, the Indians were introduced to European peoples.
That's right. Before that, the Native Americans had very, very little contact with Europeans. Excellent. Because they came over on the Mayflower.
What did the Mayflower look like?
Well, thank you, Cody. But remember, next time you need to raise your hand, okay? All right. The Mayflower, actually, we don't have any. There was no photographs of the Mayflower, but we have paintings about what the Mayflower looked like. So here is an idea of what we know the Mayflower sort of looked like. You can see it was actually a fairly small ship that held quite a few people. There are 3 large masts coming out of it, and during the voyage, most of the pilgrims stayed below decks most of the time. It was pretty cramped and smelly, and probably not a lot of fun at all. And you can see that they have made land, they're close to land, and they've got out into a little rowboat, and they're getting ready to go onto the land. Very good. All right, so now, okay. Mrs. Rice forgot where she was at. Can anyone help me out? What were we talking
You
about?
had just got done with
Well,
with what did the Mayflower look like?
That's right, we did. But see, Cody interrupted me, and so now I lost my place. Can anyone help me? What was I talking about before that?
Religious persecution.
We talked about religious persecution. Very good. So, okay. So, what are some consequences of the Pilgrims coming over on the Mayflower to the New World? What are some things that happened? No ideas? Okay. Well, they were able to start a brand new colony, and eventually those colonies became the United States, the country that we live in today. They were able to establish a society where they could practice their faith and worship freely in any way that they saw fit. They were without fear of being persecuted. Very good. All right. Now, can anyone recognize some of the hardships or the challenges? Hardships is another word for challenges. So, some of the challenges that the Pilgrims faced. Cody, can you give me one?
They didn't really know how to farm the land.
Okay, the land, the terrain, the environment was very different from what they were used to in England. You're very right. Matthew, what's another challenge that they faced?
Well, winter was coming, and that means more sickness.
That's right. They did not have a lot of medicine with them, and a lot of them hadn't had a lot of food, a lot of nutritional food, so they were very susceptible to getting colds and diseases. Very good. Jim, can you give me a challenge?
Well, one of them would have been they didn't know much about hunting and fishing in the area, so they needed help.
That's right. Again, kind of like what Cody said, they were not all used to the area. And so they had to learn how to hunt the animals and what kind of animals. They had to learn where the rivers were, where they could catch fish and get fresh water. Those are all things that they would have had to deal with, challenges they would have had to face. They didn't have grocery stores. They didn't have Walmarts nearby. The food that they had with them was the food that they had brought. And when it ran out, they had to grow their own. They had to grow their own vegetables in their own fields. They had to hunt their own meat. They had to make their own clothes. They had to do everything on their own because they were completely cut off from the rest of the world. So they had to work really, really hard. Very good. Okay, now let's identify some ways that the Native Americans helped the Pilgrims. Cody, thank you for raising your hand. Good job, buddy. All right, give me an idea.
They taught the Indians taught the Pilgrims how to grow crops properly.
That's right. They taught the Pilgrims how to use the land. Very good. What are some other ideas? Jim.
Well, they taught them how to hunt.
They taught them how to hunt. Good job. All right. Matthew, give me one more.
They showed them. No clue.
Nope, no ideas? Okay. Cody, give me another one.
They might have showed them how to use plants to create medicines.
Okay, we'll go with that. That would have been a possibility. Okay. They also shared some of the food that they had grown with them to get the Pilgrims through the winter. Because remember, they landed in the fall, so they didn't have a lot of time to grow crops. So the Native Americans helped them by sharing food that were able to keep the Pilgrims alive throughout the winter. Very good. All right, so let's talk about what did the Pilgrims have to be thankful for. We talked about how they gave thanks, but what did they give thanks for? Cody.
For the help of the Indians.
For the help of the Indians, they had friendships, new friendships, good stuff. Matthew, what about you? What is one thing the Pilgrims had to be thankful for?
That they had made it safely across the ocean.
That's right. We saw in the movie that we just watched that there was a storm on their way to across the ocean, and they were actually knocked off course. And so they were able to maneuver through that storm safely. Very good. Jim, can you give me one more?
Well, they were thankful that they made it through the winter.
They were thankful that they made it through the winter. Very good. You guys are all doing great. All right. Now let's discuss what are some of the things that both the Pilgrim Society and the Native American Society have changed over time.
Well, the Pilgrims were a small group of people,
Mm-hmm.
and as more and more people came over from Europe, that changed. Yeah.
Okay, Jim, you are right on track today. Good job, buddy. That is right. A bit like in the beginning, the Pilgrims and we call them. Eventually, they would become colonists. The Pilgrims and the Native Americans were good friends, but over time, more and more people from Europe came over, and a lot of those friendships were kind of tested, and some of those treaties were broken, and so sometimes the two groups became hostile with one another. And so a lot of different things happened. Yes, sir.
What does hostile mean?
What does hostile mean? That is a good question. Thank you, Cody. Hostile means is when they aren't very friendly with one another. When they do things that are kind of mean to one another, and they're not very good friends anymore. Good question, though. I think that is a good vocabulary word. Thank you very much. All right. So now we have had our lesson about the Pilgrims, and we are going to, are there any other questions that we want to ask?
Well, one question is, why do we eat turkey in Thanksgiving?
Why do we eat turkey at Thanksgiving? Well, when the Native Americans shared their food with the Pilgrims, We don't know exactly what they gave, but the traditional story is that they shared turkey. So we don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's what the tradition says. So that is why today we traditionally have turkey at our Thanksgiving dinners. Yes, Matthew. Last question, buddy.
Should we say what we're thankful for?
Okay, that is a great idea. Matthew, what are you thankful for today?
That we have Walmarts.
You're thankful that we have Walmarts. Very good. Now, Jim, what's one thing that you're thankful for?
For a good place to live.
For a good place to live. All right. And Cody, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for my family.
You're thankful for your family. These are all great ideas, guys. Great. All right. Well, we are done with this. And so now we are going to, let's see what my plan says. Okay, so now we are going to take a field trip. We are going to pretend to go back to the Mayflower. We have a virtual field trip online that we're going to watch. We're all going to watch it together. And then when we're done with our field trip, I've got another iPad back here that I'm going to have Jim and Matthew, you guys are going to work together. And Cody, I'll help you a little bit because we don't have any more, all our other kids are sick today, okay? And so you guys are going to get to explore this website and learn all kinds of different fun things about it, okay? All right. Well, I will get started in just a minute. I have to go check something real quick.